Well, good afternoon, everybody. Konnichiwa. Domo arigato. And that's all I can think of in Japanese. I continue to apologize that I can't speak your language to be able to communicate with you more closely. But I've always felt that in the Amway business, there is a common language that brings us together. And so it is a tremendous honor to have the chance to be here with you as Amway leaders today. Like Nakajima said, I can't see a thing up here because the lights are too bright. But I know you're out there. And I know that you are the leaders of this business. And I know that having this opportunity for us to get together like this is an important aspect in the Amway business. And it's important for you, and it's important for me. And so I thank you for taking the time to be here, and for participating, and for doing all the things that you do to make the Amway business as special as it is. We celebrate tremendous achievements throughout our history, and we do it because of the great work that you have done. So I want to make sure I start my comments today recognizing you and thanking you for all that you do to make the Amway business what it is today. Domo arigato. Thank you. Now, it is also an easy temptation when I'm here to think of all the memories that I have and all the times that I've enjoyed being here since my first trip over 25 years ago, to the different experiences that I've had along the way with so many of you in different situations, in different places, times of great celebration, times of challenge that we work through together. And it's easy sometimes for me to look back. But I want to make sure today that we spend our time looking forward, and that we continually think about the future. Where are we going from here? You know, we had a great time recognizing all the new qualifiers that were going across the stage. Wasn't that wonderful? Wasn't it wonderful to see all the new qualifiers that are here at different levels? Let's give them another round of applause for what they've done. And our instructions were not to shake their hands because it would take everybody too long, but I can't help myself. I want to grab everybody and congratulate them and thank them personally. And I know you do too. And for all the new qualifiers who are here, and especially all the young people who are part of this business today, I want to give a special welcome and a special acknowledgement to you. We're glad that you're here. We congratulate you for your achievements and for what you've been able to accomplish. But it's not just them I want to thank. The reason that they are able to have these accomplishments and the reason that they are able to see the Amway business is because of all of you and the work that you have done over the years to create this environment and make this business what it is. So this is a great opportunity to be together, to recognize achievement, to welcome new people, but most importantly, move forward. So I want to start my focus here by telling you what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the fact that in the Amway business here in Japan, or in the Amway business around the world, however many years it's been, almost 35 years here in Japan, I want to tell you that, in my opinion, we are just getting started. The business is just starting, and I want to encourage you to think about that. Your business, your future, just getting started today. Now, why do I want to talk about this? I want to talk about this because we believe in you, in your future, in your potential, and where you can go when you set your mind to getting there. Now, the reason that this is important is because it's so easy for us to look back, like I was just saying. I want to encourage you to take these words of just getting started and make them real for you in your mind and in your heart. That your future is important and that we have a lot to do together. It's a hard message, and it's a challenging message because sometimes it's more fun to look back. You know, Steve and I, many years ago, when we were, gosh, it's about 5 or 7 years ago now, we were looking at the future of the business, and the business was growing, but the growth was really modest, and it was just kind of the same thing happening. And yet, when we were there, we would always look back and look at all the great success that we'd had to get to that place. And it was easy to be complacent. It was easy to just be satisfied with the past success. And we began to realize amongst ourselves in our conversation that our past success was the greatest risk to our future success. For all of you who are brand new qualifiers, you should celebrate. For all of you who are qualified at any level, just because you're in this meeting, you should celebrate. But don't celebrate too long. We got to get back to work, right? My father did a video for us at a management conference, and we'd had another record year, and that's exactly what he told us. You should celebrate. Congratulations. It's been a great year. But don't celebrate too long. It's kind of discouraging, isn't it? You want to be able to just stay in the moment. But we have to move forward. And I want to challenge you to move forward because of your potential and because in the Amway business, we believe in better. No matter how successful we've been in the past, no matter how successful you have been in the past, we believe it can be better. And we believe it's worth working towards being better. And we better do it because, as Nakajima said, we're all taking Nutrilite, we're all staying young. We're going to be living a long time. Nobody wants to settle for things in the past. So I want to take a moment, take these moments here with you, and just touch base on some of the things I'd like you to think about as you consider your future and where you might want to go, what you might want to do. As I was saying a number of years ago, Steve and I began to look at the Amway business and look at our future and see modest, steady, but modest growth. And we said to ourselves, that's not good enough. This business is better than that. The people in this business are better than that. They deserve the company to do things better than we've been doing. And we started to go through a process of evaluation, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. I want to encourage you to start thinking in this mode of just getting started, because that's what we said. We're going to take our history and we're going to stay true to the values and the foundations of that business, but we're going to build from there. And we're going to challenge ourselves every step of the way. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do, like we did, be observant. Look around you and understand where you are really. Really. Now, this is not an easy exercise, because it's so easy. If you want to make it easy, you can look very quickly and decide, well, I'm doing pretty good. And you are. But I want to encourage you to look deeper and to think more about where you are really. In his book called Everyday Survival, Dr. Lawrence Gonzalez talks about how our minds work. And the fact that our minds are created in such a way to be incredible and to be really efficient. And they have scripts that they go through, like a movie script. Whenever you look at something, your mind immediately puts it in a category. And it does this based on your experience after living. Every time you see something, you say, well, that's a monitor, that's a light, this is a stage. So when I see something similar to this, my mind immediately says, that's what it is. It's a chair. And our life and our experiences goes right there all the time. And sometimes that is so powerful, we forget to think about new information that's coming in. We forget to dream because we're just going along with everything that we remember from our past. And one of the stories he told was a story of tragedy, about how people put themselves in danger when they didn't take in new information. A number of years ago in the United States, there was a volcano in the northwest part of the United States that was in the process of erupting. It was not a surprise. The geologists all knew it was going to erupt. They told people in the area, be very careful because this volcano is going to erupt. But yet the area around the volcano was a place where people had summer homes and cottages and vacation spots that they would go to on holiday. And many of these people remembered the good times of being in their vacations, that they completely disregarded the warnings that something could go wrong. The police had set up barricades on the road saying you can't go in here. And they would drive around the barricades. They would walk past people who were trying to keep them safe. And they did it saying, I'm not going to listen to the new information. I've been coming here all my life. It's never been a problem. But the new information was true. And when the volcano erupted, many of those people were lost, never to be seen again. Thankfully, in the Amway business, we don't have those sorts of dangers. But you do have the danger of not really taking the time to see where you are. That's the first step. Where are you really? What is this where you wanted to be in your life, in your family, in your career? Is this where you wanted to be? Or is there something else? Is there another place that maybe you could get to? So many times we are stuck in that past, aren't we? We have a history. We have failures that we've experienced. And so it brings us back in. It slows us down from dreaming. You may look at the news around and it talks about bad economic conditions, and you would say, well, maybe I shouldn't be too active in trying this business. It might hold you back. But I want to encourage you to take a real look and see what's really out there. People are successful today. Here in Japan and in markets around the world. Even though there are difficult economic times, I don't dispute that. But that's not the whole story. There's opportunity that abounds. People are starting businesses. People are thinking of new ideas. People are innovating every day, today. And so many times it's easy to get stuck and think that we're not moving forward. I want to encourage you to be fully observant. And when you're going to be fully observant, that means that you're going to dream. You're not going to let the news of the day hold you back. I want you to observe the potential and the talent that you have within yourself to be able to move forward. I want you to take in the new information that you're getting from a meeting like this, from talking to your upline or to others in your group, to be able to say, hey, this is the opportunity I've been looking for. So that's the first thing. Be observant. Where are you really? And is that where you want to be? Well, the second thing is I want to encourage you to do is really work on your mind and your attitude. I want you to have an adventurous attitude. I want you to be able to take risks. I want to encourage you to do that. I love watching the people come across the stage and waving to their groups or doing things that maybe they weren't instructed to do. Isn't that great to see? They're taking risks. They're having fun. They have that spirit of adventure. That's really the Amway story, isn't it? So many of you are young. You may have heard these stories. You may not have heard these stories. That's what my father and Jay did. They were adventurous. They tried new things. They took risks. I continue to tell people they started a flight school. They taught people how to fly. But neither one of them knew how to fly. It's a pretty risky deal. After a few years of success there, they decided to take a boat and sail to South America. They did great for a little while until the boat sank and their trip was finished. Well, it wasn't really finished. Their boat just sank. They kept on going. They sank off the coast of Cuba. They kept on going through South America. They had an adventurous attitude. They didn't let something little like their boat sinking stop them from moving on. I don't know, how would you handle that? It's kind of tough, isn't it? Right? I might think about stopping. But they didn't. You're going to face challenges in this business. You're going to have times where you're going to think, maybe I should stop. I want to encourage you to have that adventurous attitude and keep working through it. You know, there's my dad had a chance to speak to a group of college graduates in Michigan a while ago. And in the tough economic times, like the news was always talking about, a lot of the graduates were worried about what they would do to get a job. And Dad said, don't worry so much. Start a business. Do something else. Have that adventurous spirit. And people would come back and say, well, it's not the right time. It's a tough economic time. And Dad would say, it's the only time you have. It doesn't matter if it's a good time or a bad time. It's the only time you have. When Amway started, it wasn't a good economic time either. But the business has done okay. It may not be the best time, like I said earlier in the news. But it's the time that you have. It's your time. It's your opportunity. This is the time for you to be adventurous, for you to have that positive attitude, and for you to think about turning your dreams into a reality. So have an adventurous attitude, secondly. The third thing I want to talk about and encourage you to do is to make this real. I talk about turning your dreams into reality. What that means is to set some goals, real goals. Write them down. Pay attention to them. Tell people about them. Set some goals. This is an easy thing. It's funny sometimes. This isn't complicated in this business. It's a simple business. And it was designed as a simple business because it was designed in a way so that everybody could do this business. We wanted to bring people in, not make it so complicated and so difficult that only a few people could do it. We wanted to make sure the opportunity was available to everybody. And so it's simple. Set some goals. Where do you want to be next year, in 3 years, in 5 years? Where do you want to be with your business? It's a simple process, right? So Steve and I, when we looked many years ago, we said we thought the potential of the business was that it could double in the next 5 to 7 years. Wow. That was a bit of a scary thing for us to say, but that's what we thought. We're not there yet, but we're pretty close. But we set some goals that were real. We told people about them. We made plans. We put plans in place to achieve them. Don't just dream. Dreaming's the first part. But make sure you turn it into something tangible, something real, something that you can tell to somebody else, something that you can measure your results to achieve, so that you can talk with people about it as you are taking those steps along the way to where you want to go. Set some goals. You know, I had a opportunity with a leader a couple of years ago, having dinner, and he was talking about the business, and he was in a place that was a little frustrating for him. He wasn't growing as fast as he wanted to grow, wasn't as successful as he wanted to be, and in the midst of the dinner, he kind of looked at me and he said, "Doug, what's your goal for the business? I need to know that." And it was really tempting to try to talk about me. But I stopped. I said, don't ask me that question. What's your goal for your business? Only you can answer that question. So I turned the discussion around. I said, tell me about where you want to go. Our job at Amway is to help you get there. Our job as a company is not to tell you where to go. Nobody can tell you what to do. We don't want to do that. We just want to encourage you to tell yourself what you want to do. And after we had that exchange, you could see the dreams start to come alive. You could see the goals start to be put down as he began to take responsibility for his goals, for his business, for his future. That's what I want to encourage you to do. I want you to take this time, this weekend, and make those goals real. Where do you want to be? The next time there's recognition on the stage, what level do you want to be to walk across? What level do you want to be to give a speech? What level do you want to be to go on a trip or an incentive that you've seen? What is it really for you? We can put all these things out as a company. We try to create this atmosphere and this environment. But only you can decide where you want to go and what you want to do. So that's the third thing. Set real goals. Write them down. Talk about them. And do it this weekend. Do it this weekend in the midst of this atmosphere when there's so much going on. Make it real. Well, the last thing I'd want to tell you about the fourth point, is to be serious. Be serious. Because you're going to have to work hard to achieve any goal you set. You've heard that probably at every meeting you've gone to. And I'm going to tell you the same thing. It's a simple business, but it's not an easy business. It takes work. And if you want to go from where you are to where you want to be, you're going to have to do things differently. You're going to have to change. I was at a training center in Grand Rapids at a meeting, and as I was leaving the center, there was a big quote on the wall. It said, "Nothing changes until the leader changes." Nothing changes until the leader changes. There's a lot of leaders in this room. And there's always the temptation to look upline for that next leader. But like that dinner that I had, the only one who can make decisions for you and your future is you. And the only one who can start the process going is if you are going to do something different. What are you going to do? When we began to set goals at Amway and Steve and I began to put plans in place, it was very easy to say, well, we need this to happen and we want this to happen over here and we really need this market to do that. And then there was a point where we kind of looked at ourselves and said, you know, if all this is going to happen, we have to do things differently. We can't think. We can't work in the way we've done it before. We're going to have to be different. We're going to have to challenge ourselves to learn. We're going to have to challenge ourselves to see things more broadly. We're going to have to challenge ourselves in ways we've never expected. Things that are different. If we're going to be the leaders that we need to be so that the organization can move forward. Same applies to you in your business. You're the leader. The only way things are going to change is if you are willing to change. Is if you are willing to do things differently. If you are going to be serious about it. You know, and it's hard to be disciplined to work through that. It's easy to leave a weekend like this and say, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that happen. It's hard to be doing it a week or a month or 2 months down the road. I want to encourage you to be disciplined. I want to encourage you to stay focused. You know, a number of years ago, my father had an introduction to another gentleman, and as he was introducing himself, the other gentleman says, "You're Rich DeVos. Are you the Amway guy?" And Dad says, "Well, yeah, I'm the Amway guy." And the other guy says, "Well, you know what? I used to be in Amway once." And my dad smiled and looked at him and said, "You know what? I stuck with it." Right? I stuck with it. There's a lot of people in this world who used to be in Amway once, but they didn't stick with it. And that's okay. I hope they had a great experience. I hope they had a wonderful opportunity to meet great people in the Amway business. And I hope their life was blessed because they were part of it. But they didn't stick with it. And I believe that had they stuck with it, that they would have had an opportunity to do even better things for themselves. I want to encourage you to stick with it in this business. And I believe that the opportunities in this business are great because I've been able to see it all my life. I've been able to watch people achieve amazing things. And the people in this business who have achieved the most amazing things have done it because they've done the best job of helping somebody else achieve an amazing thing too. The beauty of this business is that when you are observant, right? When you have the right attitude, when you set those goals, and when you are willing to change to pursue those goals, the best way it gets done is by reaching out and helping someone else. It's kind of funny, isn't it? In a good way. Most businesses aren't like that. But this business is. So I want to encourage you to go through those things. I want to encourage you this weekend to talk with your upline or talk with your downline, talk with folks at the company. But I want to encourage you to go through that process and take it seriously. Because I do believe that the future can be bright, that your potential is tremendous. And I do believe that you are just getting started. I believe the journey also will be worth it. A number of years ago, I was working through the call center at Amway in Michigan, at our headquarters, and I was talking to the operators who were answering questions and talking with distributors as they were calling in, and I was causing a little bit of disruption as I was walking through and trying to greet people and thank them for their work. And there was one operator who was talking to a distributor who heard the commotion and said, "Can I talk to Doug?" And so the operator grabbed me and I put the phone and said, "Sure, I'd be love to talk. You know, that's kind of fun." So I put the phone on, I started talking to this woman, and she said, "You know what? I got to tell you something. I got to tell you my story." She said, "I'm over 70 years old now, well in my 70s, and I'm moving into my dream house. And I just want you to know that." And I said, "That's great. You're moving into your dream house. That's great." And she says, "That is great, but that's not my story. I want to tell you my story, how I got involved with Amway." She said, I first got to know Amway because of the product. I had a skin condition. I had very sensitive skin, and anytime I would put clothes on, my skin would be very irritated. And Amway cleaning products and detergents were the only ones that were sensitive enough that I could use. So I became a loyal customer. And that's how I started. And I said, "That's great. What a wonderful story. Fantastic." And she said, "I'm not finished. There's more to the story." She said, "My husband was an engineer working for a big company, and he lost his job. But because we loved the product and we had sold some product to some friends and started a few things going, even though it was small, we were able to start our own Amway business and get into it seriously and replace his income from losing his job." I was like, wow, incredible. That's a great story. Okay, the product part and the getting in the business part, that's great. She goes, "It is great, but I'm not done. There's more to the story." She said, "I didn't know how important it would be to have our own Amway business until my husband got sick and passed away a few years later. And I was all alone. And because we had built our Amway business, I was able to keep the business going. I was able to take care of myself because of this business." And I'm like, wow, that's a great story. I said, "Are you finished?" She says, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." And she finished by reminding me she was moving into her dream home. that she was taking care of herself. She didn't have to rely on her children or anyone else, that she had built her Amway business and was successful. And we had a great conversation. And I finished it. And as I hung up the phone and was reflecting on the conversation, I realized something. I never asked her about her dream home. I never asked her if it was a big home or a small home. I never asked her if it was in the mountains or by the ocean. I never asked her if it was in a city or in a rural area. I never asked her about her dream home. And then I realized it really didn't matter, because I would have tried to put it into my terms, when the important thing was, it was her dream home. And I don't know anything about it other than it was important to her. My wish for you as leaders of this business is that you keep dreaming. And if it's a dream home or some other dream that you have, that you put it out there. And that you stay determined to work toward it. And that at some point we'll be able to have a conversation. You'll be able to tell me or anyone else about your dreams and how you're living them. And nobody else will be able to define it. Nobody else will be able to put it in their terms, because you have been able to dream your dreams, set your goals, and build your business on your terms. That's the joy of the business. That's why I believe we're just getting started. And that's why I believe our best years are ahead of us. And that's why I am so thrilled to be here with you today and to be part of building this business together with all of you. Have a great afternoon. Domo arigato. Thank you all, everybody. Have a great time. We'll see you all tomorrow.